Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the number one thing that I did recently that 100% changed my life. It's a really simple thing, and I'm sure that if you apply it to your own life, you're going to have huge benefits as well. If you're new to the channel, my name's Tim. I make videos on business, entrepreneurship, and self-improvement. So today we're going to be talking about surrounding yourself with positive and like-minded people, and how if you surround yourself with positive and productive content, you'll start to see some big changes in your life as well. After that, I'm going to be talking about my personal resources that I look to stay positive and productive. So I'm sure all of you have heard the quote, "You are what you eat." And the idea for that is just you have to eat healthy if you want to be healthy. I think that idea also translates to your brain as well. So say you're always around people that are always being negative and they're not doing much with their lives. Like all they do is just play video games and watch TV all the time. The more you surround yourself with people like that, the more you will become that. And I'm not saying you should axe all of your friends. I'm not saying that at all. But I think it's important to see how much time you're spending with people like that. If you're spending loads and loads of time with people like that, you may want to look at limiting that. And the most important thing that I've found is that if you can't find people that are the opposite of what is currently in your life, like say you can't find positive people, you can't find people who are doing the same thing as you. So I found a way that I can get that same experience of surrounding myself with positive people by just consuming the right content. So yeah, over the past year or so, I've been finding people like me on the internet. People who are starting a business, starting a YouTube channel. People who are trying to improve themselves. And I've been consuming tons and tons of their content. I've been listening to podcasts, reading books, following YouTube channels. And I found that this past year, I've been more productive than I've ever been. And I've also been happier overall. So I'm just gonna share with you some podcasts, books, and YouTube channels that I've been following this past year that really helped shift my mind into being super productive. And hopefully it'll help you too. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is a podcast. It's called Cortex. It's hosted by these two guys, CGP Grey and Mike Hurley. I don't know too much about Mike Hurley, but I know CGP Grey from his YouTube channels. He specializes in educational videos, and like a lot of his videos go viral. I'm sure if you've never heard of him, you've at least seen a few of his videos just by chance over the years. So he's a really smart guy, and on his podcast he just shares his work life, like how he gets his work done, his tips on productivity. Sometimes they talk about books that they've read and how it's helped them in their businesses. He's just a really smart guy and he seems to know what he's doing. And I really love the podcast because it's really educational for me. They talk about practical things about starting a side business, and it's also entertaining. Like they are friends in real life and then they just joke about things, and it's just a nice thing to listen to when you're on a commute or you're doing chores or something like that. The next thing I want to talk about is another podcast. It's called How I Built This with Guy Raz. So pretty much on this podcast, they have a new guest come on every week. And these are guests that have already built amazing businesses. Some of my favorite episodes are the Sarah Blakely one. She's the CEO and founder of Spanx, which is now like $1 billion business. I also like the episode on the Dropbox owners. Pretty much you have like these really big successful companies, and it's just helpful to know your struggle to create a successful business is very common. You'll see the same struggles in the people that come on the show. Like they talk about everything that's gone wrong for them and how they overcame it, and how a lot of the times you just have to consistently work at a thing and then you'll get lucky and then it'll pay off. Another reason why I love this podcast so much is you'll see a common theme with a lot of the different companies that come on, and you'll see how often it is that these big companies start with just one person in their basement or one person in their garage. Before I listened to this show, I had this idea that I had to assemble a team and have an amazing idea. And then after that, I had to raise tons and tons of money just to start. But a lot of these businesses didn't follow that path. They just start with one person that has an idea to do something and they just start doing it. And then over time, they slowly build into something that's crazy. So yeah, it's just really nice to hear stories of how these people built these companies, because it's something that you just don't hear every day. You see successful companies around you, but you don't know where they started. And it's just really helpful and inspiring to listen to these stories. So the first book I want to talk about is a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book has really changed my life in the last year. Before I read this, I just used to think that if you wanted to do something big, you needed to do grand actions to achieve it. Like if you wanted to start a business, you had to quit your job and then work on it 24/7. But what I've learned over the years, to achieve big things, you do have to do a lot, but it's more sustainable to do small things every single day And over time, it compounds into the big thing that you're trying to achieve. So just that single idea changed everything, because a lot of things in life are a marathon, like they're not a sprint. And the only way to finish a marathon is one step at a time. So that means if you want to achieve something great one day, like you have to change your habits. There's no other way, because the only way that you're going to keep at it every single day is to make it automatic. When something is a habit, you don't even think about it. Like when you pick up your phone, you will habitually go to like Instagram or something like that. There's one app that you will always open after you pick up your phone. Like you can check it with your screen time, and it's not like you're picking up your phone and then you're being like, what app should I open now? You've done it so many times that it's become automatic and you don't think about it. And that's kind of what you're trying to do, but for things that are going to achieve your goals long term. So yeah, it's a bit hard for me to explain everything about it, but if you are interested, I really recommend you reading that book. If you're going to read one book this year, make it that book. It was just so helpful for me, and I really think that it will help you too. Next, I want to talk about some YouTube people that I really like. One of them is a guy named Abdaal. If you don't know him, he's a doctor in the UK. And while he was working a job as a doctor, he ran a business to help people get into med school. He ran a YouTube channel that was posting 1 to 2 videos a week. He was just running a bunch of things all at once. And yeah, he's just another one of those really smart guys that is trying to be efficient with his time. He's doing a lot of things and trying to grow his business every day as well. And the great thing about him is you can go back to his old YouTube videos and just watch him grow as a person, and how he just started as one guy in his room filming videos. Now he's making over $1 million every year, and it's just crazy. The next person I want to talk about is Gary Vee, and he's not really solely a YouTube guy. He has a YouTube channel, but he's doing so much as well. He has a YouTube channel, he has a podcast, he's running a business. It's like, people who are doing a million things, I really look up to. I always have the question, how do you find the time to do that? But yeah, I just got into his content recently. I don't really know much about his history or anything like that. He grew his family business from like a $4 million business to something like $50 million a year or something like that. So that's pretty impressive just in itself. But he has like this really huge goal to buy a football team one day. And yeah, it's just nice to follow people that are trying to achieve things and then rooting for them and cheering them on and hoping they succeed while you do your own things. But yeah, if I had to say one thing about Gary Vee, is that he's just a super positive person. And there's so many times where I've felt down. Maybe I encounter a setback for my business, or I just am not in a good mood. Like he'll just post something on Instagram that super resonates with me, and it'll just suddenly motivate me to keep going. He's just always super positive, and it's nice to have somebody that's just spewing positivity out in a world where it doesn't seem like that's very common. But yeah, if you're interested, I highly suggest just giving him a follow on Instagram if you're on it. And yeah, hopefully you find him helpful like I do. So that's all my suggestions for content. I just really want to stress again how important it is to surround yourself with just positive people and people that are trying to do what you're trying to do. There's a lot of people that will see somebody trying to do something and maybe they're more successful than you, and then they'll hate on them. But what you really should be doing is learning from them. Like if somebody has something that you want, learn from them. Especially these guys that I mentioned and these books that I've mentioned, is they're trying to share everything that they've learned with you. And that's why I just really like these guys. And it's a little weird to say, but when you're listening to like podcasts and you're following these guys on social media, you kind of feel like you're their friends. It's this weird thing about podcasts in particular. If you're listening to somebody and they're in your ear, it's almost like you're having a conversation with them. So yeah, that's just another way to get around the fact that if maybe you live in a small town, or maybe you're like me, you're an introvert and you're shy, you don't want to go out and meet people like this, like at a networking event or something like that, just follow the people that are doing what you want to do and learn from them. Don't waste your time on negative people and negative things, because eventually it's gonna get you down as well, and you're just gonna become like them. So that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, leave me a comment down below. Like, I will reply to your comments if you leave it. I'm a super new, super small YouTuber. If you leave a comment, I'll reply. Like, no big deal. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.